everything we discussed is then leaked to the paper, that's not appropriate.
而且我们也不是那样进行的。
And that's not how the way the conversation was
如果
conducted.
有诚心，咱们就用一种互相尊重的态度来进行很好的沟通。
If there is
否则这个结果就不好说了。
if
In
there is
Canada, we
sincerity
believe
on
in
your part,
free and open and frank dialogue, and that is what we will continue to have. We will continue to look to work constructively together, but there will be things we will disagree on, and we will have
有
to
些可以
continue.
欠缺性，但是
创造条件，创造条件。
Let's create the
Foreign interference in elections erodes trust in democratic institutions, and Canada is no exception. The dire situation highlights the need for answers regarding the government's ability to protect Canada's democracy. Chinese interference in Canadian elections has come to limelight, specifically targeting Conservative members of Parliament, MPs such as Erin O'Toole and Jenny Kwan. According to the Canadian Security Intelligence Service (CSIS), O'Toole was briefed on China's efforts to discredit him and spread false narratives about his policies during his tenure as the party leader. Surprisingly, these threats were not flagged by CSIS or the federal government at the time. O'Toole had previously claimed that Chinese interference played a role in the Conservative Party's loss of seats in the 2019 election, potentially impacting his own position as party leader. The 2021 election also saw a decline in votes for several Conservative candidates, including Ontario MP Bob Saroya and former MP Elise Wong from British Columbia. Foreign disinformation monitoring watchdog DisinfoWatch raised concerns about a coordinated campaign against the Conservatives in 2021, with Chinese instant messaging service WeChat identified as a platform for these activities. CSIS informed O'Toole that the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, had funded a misinformation campaign on WeChat to suppress votes and undermine his credibility during 2021 election. Other MPs, such as Jenny Kwan, have also faced Chinese targeting. Kwan was targeted before the 2019 election due to her advocacy for human rights in Hong Kong and Uyghur Muslims in China. Conservative MP Michael Chong discovered that a Chinese diplomat had targeted him and his family after he introduced legislation condemning China's treatment of the Uyghur Muslim minority. An interim report by Special Rapporteur David Johnston confirmed Beijing's interest in gathering information about Chong and his relatives. However, it remained unclear whether the information campaigns against conservatives were state-sponsored or the result of genuine disagreement among Chinese Canadians with the party's stance on China.
Another central piece of my mandate and a requirement of this first report was to determine if a separate public inquiry or public process is required to investigate foreign interference in our democracy.
The lack of public announcement by the government regarding threats to the integrity of Canada's electoral process raises questions. Despite the allegations, the Liberals secured minority mandates both in 2019 and 2021 elections, while the Conservatives became the official opposition.
Be commenting on any of the recent reports.
But Prime Minister Justin Trudeau refused to give straight answers to questions about Chinese interference in Canada's elections. Instead, he implied the line of questioning was racist. Reports claim that China was supporting the candidates of Liberal Party. However, Mr. Trudeau maintains that the election outcomes were not influenced. But the role China's consulate in Toronto played to help the campaigns of 11 candidates in the 2019 federal election tells a different tale. The Trudeau Foundation and the University of Montreal disclosed that an unnamed commercial attaché at one of China's consulates in Canada and billionaire Zheng Bin, a political advisor to the government in Beijing, and another affluent Chinese businessman, Liu Zhenxing, would contribute $1 million as a tribute to the memory and leadership of Pierre Trudeau. Of the $1 million donated, $750,000 funded law scholarships at the University of Montreal, including grants for Quebec students to visit China. Pierre Trudeau, during his tenure as Prime Minister, played a significant role in establishing diplomatic relations with China in 1970. The Trudeau Foundation has investments in Chinese companies Baidu and Tencent, a former board member told MPs on a parliamentary committee. 0.07% of the foundation's portfolio is invested in Chinese tech giants Tencent and Baidu. Tencent is the developer of the widely popular WeChat application. Its use for surveillance and censorship has been documented by the Citizen Lab at the University of Toronto. The lab has also found privacy issues with Baidu's browser. US-based cyber defense firm Unit 42 previously reported on Baidu apps on the Android platform leaking sensitive user data. The spread of Chinese overseas police service stations around the world and specifically highlights their presence in Canada. These police stations are illegal and have been set up to antagonize China's adversaries. It further alleges that the Chinese government is using these stations to influence elections in the respective countries and control the activities of the overseas Chinese diaspora. Increasing Chinese interference has gained eyeballs from the world, but liberals seem to spend their lives in a bubble.